Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shauna Lee, sponsored by Kit McKillop, Reiki Master and Intuitive Guide. This is the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am introducing you to a new friend today. Her name is Kashaun Parker. I feel as if we are already fast friends. Our names are so similar. I would love for you to introduce yourself to my audience, but first of all, thank you for being with me today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me, Shauna. Excited to be here, excited about the conversation. As you mentioned, I'm Kashaun Parker. I am the owner and founder of Next Step Forward. And Next Step Forward is a coaching platform where I partner with new and aspiring business owners to get them up and going in their business. And it's a passion of mine that is near and dear to my heart, just born out of my own rise to leadership journey. So I am moving forward in helping others just find their footing and move forward into their passion.
That's amazing. It's really important work you're doing because I think a lot of people have a desire to start a business or venture out on their own, but they don't know the first place to start.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love that because I think that's usually where the conversation kicks off, right? It's like, oh, great, I have this desire and it's larger than me, but now, where do
Yeah.
I go? And I like to say that's kind of where I jump in. If you're willing to jump, then I'm willing to help you fly the plane, so to speak. So it's
I love
amazing
it.
work.
I love it. One of my mentors says, sometimes you have to just take the leap and jump off the cliff and find your wings on the way
Yes,
down. And I love
yes,
that
yes,
you're like
yes.
the wings. You're helping them
Let's
fly.
do
That's
it.
amazing. Well, so tell me a little bit about how you have embraced this idea of starting again.
Oh, so, for me, starting over again takes on many facets. It's one that is born out of my personal story, and that I've had many opportunities to start again in my personal life. Being a widowed single mother, I had to learn how to parent solo. I had to,
Yeah.
learn just the ropes of how to do that. And then in my professional career, I had to learn to start over again after my organization just decided that they needed to close. And it was either that or it was either stick with the organization and relocate. And that meant uprooting my family, uprooting my kids,
Yeah.
and traveling across the country, or I already had this idea of something just being born inside of me in terms of leadership development, personal growth. And so I had an opportunity to just really start in that arena and decide what was over there. So it's like, for me, starting over is, you're always starting into something. We're in a life full of transitions. Some are big, some are small. It's
Hmm.
how you look at them, and just being willing to embrace those opportunities as they come. It has been just my lifeline.
Yeah. Well, and I can get a sense of your optimism and your positivity just by the way that you said you had the opportunity to start again, because many people don't
Hmm.
think of it like an opportunity, but you are definitely having that positive spin on it. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, because it's essentially just that, right? It's like
Yep.
there are some things that, that come up, and we like to say, well, I didn't have a choice. And the
Hmm.
truth of the matter is, you always have a choice.
Yes.
It's just a
Yes,
matter
we
in
do.
how you choose to look at it, and what you decide to do with it, which then in terms turns it into an opportunity,
Right.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when you look back at your story and kind of the path that you took to get where you are today, lots by choice or not by choice. Perhaps in the moment it felt that way. But what do you think inspires you most about your story?
So when I take myself and I put myself in the audience seat of my story, I
Yeah.
fall in love with this woman that has had every opportunity to throw in the towel, to just say, you know what, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing good that could come out of this situation, but she doesn't do that.
Yeah.
She instead just chooses to take a moment to get a realization, because things come up and they are real. They're very real.
Yep.
Get a sense of realization, but then also in that moment just decide that first and foremost to never quit on herself. And that's inspiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's now that I've kind of gone into this partnership, this agreement with myself, that I'm not going to quit on me, no matter what the obstacles are in front of me. I'm in it for the long haul. Now it's, how do I reach others? And so I started small, and it was like, well, with my children, how do I show them, not preach to them, but really walk it out for them and show them that? And I
Yeah.
began to do that. And then I branched out from there to everyone else. So when you get a sense of Kashaun and who she is, you see this amazing creature that is birthed in resilience and fortitude and a willingness, and then has the personality and the heart set to match. So I mean, I just, in a in the most humbling way, I fall in love with my own journey, because it really is, it's one that you can't make it up, is what I say.
Yeah.
So then you learn what to do with it
Yeah.
and how to live with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I wish
Yeah.
I heard more women say that they fall in love with themselves and their story. And that I agree. That is totally inspiring. And I'm glad that you were on the show to share that today. So I
Yes.
guess let's dive into your business a little bit more. Tell us more about the types of clients you're working with, like what industries, what are these clients doing that you're helping them kind of get off the ground and started?
Sure. So what I find in my business is I find a lot of women that they have the desire to do something different. And they term it really, really beautifully. They say, I have this thing that I'm doing on the side. I
Yep.
have this hobby. I have this passion, but oh, it could never be a full-time business. I mean, it's just something that I do for fun.
Hmm.
And what I do is I offer just an invitation to go in and play with that idea. What if it were more than just a hobby?
Yeah.
Have you ever, thought about what that will look like? And what I've learned in doing that, just a simple exercise like that, is many of them don't take the opportunity to explore further because they simply don't know where to begin. There's so
Hmm.
much that they get lost in the unknown. And that's where I decided, I said, I want to be a part of something that is bigger than me, one, but that teaches people that you could essentially do anything. What you don't know is how much time you have. And if you're
Yep.
going to go empty. If you're gonna be on your deathbed, let that be, you say, okay, I've given life all that I have to give. And that's essentially my message. What you don't give and share with the world is going to die with you. And that's
Yes.
a heavier burden to carry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an excellent perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think that a lot of people, I think more people are concerned about what people will think of them or how it might go wrong. And they don't do exactly what you do in the very beginning, which is what if it goes right? And what if it could be more? Give themselves permission to think about the alternative, right? But also, I like that you're shifting it a little bit further and saying that it's a bigger burden to let it die with you. Like what you're keeping from the world by not sharing it. And that's another thing. I don't think a lot of business owners are necessarily thinking about that when they get started, but that's a really important. little tiny detail, which is so huge and so impactful.
Yeah. Well, it's one, Shauna, that I say that is the birth. That was like the seedling that I got from my story of all the things. I go, what's the common denominator here? What the idea is that we are here for a certain amount of time. We don't know what that is, but we're all given something while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get to decide not to give that to the world. How do I know that? Because that thing that's inside of you, it moves. It nags at you, so to speak. Like, it's just like, I think I
Mm-hmm.
should be doing something more. How do you know
Yes.
that? Because you're doing this side hustle. It called
Yeah.
you to it. So why
Yeah.
not listen to it? Tap into it. And
Yeah.
that's all my message is. And I'm here to partner with you. I don't condone, anybody just kind of throwing their jobs off to the side and being reckless. No.
Sure.
Let's build a structure and make it work for you and what you're doing. But tap into that with everything you got.
Yeah. 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 I love it. So one of the things that we talk about a lot on this podcast is the lessons we learn and the wisdom we gain along the way. And I have noticed when I look back at my whole life path that got me to where I am today, there's a common theme in those lessons if I start to pay attention to the patterns. So, what do you think is the common theme for you in your lessons?
The common theme for me has been to just be brave.
Oh,
It has just continuously provided an invitation that things are going to happen. Things, you don't get control of the things, you get control of you. Be brave, take one
yeah.
step. You don't have to worry about
Yes.
everything else, just do one thing.
Yes.
And that's been the recurring theme. And I'll share with you, earlier on I struggled with that because I took just the mechanics, the hard mechanics of my story, and I go, I think there's something going on here with grief, right? And
Mm,
I played around with it, and it was like grief coach, and it was like, grief counselor. And I was like, finally I sat still and I said, I don't want my story to be about death. My
mm,
story is about life. My story is
yes.
about what you do with while you're still here. Of all the things that has happened, I'm still here. I
Yeah.
am still very much here and a part of my journey. So that, the messages has been, be courageous though. Be willing to go one step further, to do one more thing. And it has opened up worlds of possibilities. Worlds of possibilities.
Did you know I'm Reiki certified? My Reiki master and intuitive guide, Kit McKillop, is sponsoring this episode. While I am certain her intuition is spot on, don't simply take my word for it. Her gentle spirit will guide you along your path in a way that feels like home. She has opened registration for a new class offering called Claim Your Energy, which is designed to help empaths and highly sensitive people learn the basics of energetic exchange. Do you ever wonder why it can be overwhelming and feel draining to be in large groups of people? She will teach you easy tools and techniques to ground, center, and shield your energy in this course. Claim your energy with Kit at kitmckillop.com. Use promo code SimplyShauna to save 20%. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah, I think we build confidence along the way. You take that. I always say baby steps are better than no steps. So instead of just sitting
Yes.
right where you are today and not making any progress, take one little tiny baby step towards whatever that big giant goal is or dream you have, whatever. And just take one little tiny step. Because I think as we do that, we build confidence. We start believing in ourselves a little bit more. The self-doubt dies away, and you build momentum towards, and then it gets
Mm-hmm.
easier and easier. And I think that's where bravery and courage comes from, is having done that and then okay, I'm still all right. Okay, maybe I could do a little bit more next time. Like, you just build it up each time a little bit. I had this conversation with my son this week, actually, and it reminds me of what you said earlier that our children really, they listen to what we say, but that's not how they learn from us. They learn by example. And so I can tell my son every day with my last breath, like, what it takes to be courageous and brave. And I was telling him all these things. I said, it doesn't mean you're not scared or you don't have some anxious feelings about it. It means you do it anyways. That's what makes you brave. And the thing is, if I sit back and think, okay, yeah, I can tell him these things, but really what's going to resonate with him is when he looks back and said, wow, my mom really was brave. She did XYZ after one, two, three. It's seeing that example that really solidifies it for them. That's what they learn from.
No, because you're right. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And our children are our best examples. They're our greatest teachers.
Yes.
And if you could just lean into that space with them, and not go to lecture them, but to show
Yeah.
them, guide
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and the words they use, Shauna, and you're a testament to this. It's like, oh, you were paying attention.
Yes. Yes.
You were listening.
Uh-huh.
It moves mountains.
Oh, I love those moments where I'm like, oh, they are listening to what I say. They're
Yes.
few and far between,
Yes.
but they're so great when they
Yes.
happen.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, I don't think they heard a word I said.
I
I don't
don't
think
think
they
it's just
did.
want, 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 like Charlie Brown's teacher. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So the lessons are good. Yes. Bravery, courage. I'm here for all of that. So one of my favorite questions that I like to ask people is think back to this younger version of you at any stage or point on your journey to get here. What advice would you give her?
To breathe.
Mm,
I often think of the younger Kashaun and all that she's had to go through, as with anyone living. And some moments have the power to just catch you short and just take every bit of breath in you.
yep.
And when you can just sit in those moments and just take a deep breath and reground yourself, I think that's what I would tell her to do most. I think it would help, to embrace the journeys a little bit more, and to really take the time to appreciate the moments as they come forth. And that's one of the things that I continuously practice now. It's just like, okay, here we go. And breathe and embrace rather than cringe up and resist is what and we do it naturally. It's not
Mm-hmm.
anything that I don't think that we are intentionally doing. I just think that it's the natural urge when something just catches you off guard. And
Yeah.
so it would be to embrace her and just say, breathe, baby, it's okay, it'll be
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
and walk forward.
Yeah. I think those moments, there are plenty, I think, in everyone's lives, those moments that knock the wind out of you and you're like, holy hell, like just unexpected. And they stop you in your tracks. And I think, and then even on a lesser scale, like just today, this was great advice for me. I had to go sit outside in the sun just for 10 minutes and sit and breathe and
Mhm.
just be still. And you said ground yourself. That's exactly what I literally sat on the ground and I just was like, okay, I just need to breathe and sit and be still. And I think it sounds really simple and easy, but it's a game changer because then
Mhm.
when you stand back up to face what the same pile of whatever was sitting there to begin with is still there, by the way. The work doesn't go away. All the things, they just sit there and wait for you. So then after I've had my moment, I stand back up and I'm like, okay, all right, I can do this. I got it. Okay, move forward. And that one step forward is just a little bit easier. Yeah, that was great advice.
Yeah, thank you. And just to complement what you just shared, it's like, you know to understand it, it's not just the big earth shattering moments,
Mm-mm.
but it's the practice in those smaller things. that
Yep.
gives you the framework of how to deal with those larger things when they come. Knowing, okay, I know me well enough, and I tell my kids this now. It's like, I know me well enough. I got to go put myself in timeout. Let me go and get me together.
I do the same thing. I'm like, mom needs a timeout.
Yes.
Because sometimes,
Yes.
my goodness, yes, sometimes we just need a moment. Nobody's
Hmm.
here to put me in timeout. I just put myself in timeout. Like,
Put myself in timeout.
it's no longer a punishment.
No.
Now I'm like, okay, hold on. I got this. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay,
Yes.
so what is next for you? Like, where do you see your business going next? What's on the horizon?
So the horizon for my business is more speaking. There is definitely a message to encourage others to, one, embrace your truth, embrace your story, embrace your journey, and then two, to find out, what your unique gift is. If it is business, entrepreneurship, tap into that, see what that is. Whatever it is, tap into it, dig in, find out what's there, and then move on it. Right? that's
Yeah.
that's the breath work behind next step forward, is teaching people how to do that and do it from a platform.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, and so when you do look forward and into the future, what do you now believe is possible for your own life?
Oh my gosh. I, I love that. In that everything is always possible. What I believe is possible for me is that I can reach forth and grab it. I can grab a hold to the possibilities. And so what does that look like? That looks like I can, expand and grow my business model. I can, reach out and look to be a part of more collaborative platform engagements such as this one. And just look to serve my gift of speaking, coaching, sharing, connecting, all of that, to have someone else to say, I didn't know where this thing was gonna take me, but I knew
Yeah.
something was there. And I'm so glad that I had someone to meet me right where I was to be able to get me to the next phase. No matter
Yeah.
what that journey looks like.
Well, that's what they say. When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yes,
It's
yes.
so true. Yeah. And I think that's really fundamentally one of the reasons I started this podcast was I visualized this group of women kind of arm in arm coming together. And it was a lifting up of women that was my goal because, listen, we see plenty of women tearing each other down. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be part of showing my kids what I wanted for their future, which was women supporting women. And so I love that all I do is talk to amazing women all day long, hit record, and share the stories. And it's like me talking one on one, like that. It took me probably until my 40s to realize that was my gift. Like I was like, I'm not special. I don't have any gifts. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, no, no. That time that I go to
Yes.
any event and people are like, I've never told anybody this before. This happens to me
Yes.
on repeat. I'm like, oh, I'm easy for people to talk to. That's my gift. And to be able to find a way to kind of harness that and then simultaneously build up other women and share their businesses. I'm like, this is just, I wish I would have, I wish I would have gotten here sooner. However, it wouldn't have been as good if I had.
Yes. Yes. And I love that. And you're absolutely right. It's like to tap into that gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it takes its time to develop on purpose, with
Yes.
purpose,
Yes.
because it makes the blossoming so much more beautiful.
Yeah.
To embrace it, and for you, it's your normal. I always tell
Yeah. Yeah.
people, it's like, it's normal for you, but it is life changing for the person on the other end. Embrace
Yes.
that. That is
Yes.
great.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think I just did an episode recently where I had talked about how do you figure out what your gift is? And part of what I said was it doesn't feel abnormal to you. It feels like it's easy and everyone can do it. And the fact of the matter is not everyone can do it, and that's why it's a gift. Because you
Yes.
can do it and it feels easy to you, that is the gift. And I think that's really eye-opening for a lot of people, is to be able to because a lot of people are just sitting there going, I'm not special. There's nothing unique about me. But yes, there is. Yes, in fact, there is.
No, I think that really find your gift, figure out what that is. If it's business involved, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Um, but don't leave that thing untouched. Go in there,
Yes.
date it, figure it out, and play with it, and watch it just unfold for you in unimaginable ways. And
Mm-hmm.
your world just opens up as a result of it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Well, so there will be people listening who are like, oh my gosh, I need to work with her. So how can people find you?
Okay. So I encourage everyone to just check out my website, nextstepforward.com. And on there, I'm actually offering complimentary strategy sessions where we can talk about, if it's a side hustle, let's talk about it, figure out what it is, and see what you want to do. And if it makes sense for us to work together, we can discuss what that looks like as well.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I will definitely include the link and all of your information in the show notes so people can find you. But this was such a pleasant, lovely conversation. I cannot thank you enough for being here and spending some time with me today.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing. I appreciate you, Shauna.
Did you like this episode, or did you love it? Inquiring minds want to know. The best way to support this show is to subscribe and leave a review. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.